Hello everybody and welcome back to the Data Playbook. Today we have the Sunday pregame reviews, so let's get right into it. Getting into the Chargers at Tennessee, you have the Chargers favored on the money line with a spread of 9.5 and a total point line of 43.5. Quickly looking through the rankings, you have the Chargers as the best passing team in the league. They're very good at stopping the passing game too, including the tight ends, and they like to use their tight ends. Their rushing's about average. Everything else is about average, which is pretty good overall. With Tennessee, you have one of the worst teams with a scoring rank of 32 and an allowed scoring rank of 30, so they can't stop their opponents from scoring, and they can't score themselves very well. They also have one of the worst passing ranks, the worst rushing ranks in the league, and they're one of the worst at stopping the rush. So it does seem like it would favor the Chargers here. And then here's your averages that should match up to those rankings. Looking at the quarterbacks for this game, you have Justin Herbert and Cam Ward. Justin Herbert has averaged 20 fantasy points per game this season, and Cam Ward has averaged 8.3. Justin Herbert has 7 passing interceptions this season and 1 rushing fumble. Cam Ward has 6 passing interceptions this season and 5 fumbles lost due to sacks. Here's those averages if you need them. And just looking at the carry share, Justin Herbert has 18.9% of the team's total carry share. And over here, Cam Ward has about 9.7% of the team's total carry share. Your running backs in this game are Kamani Vidal and Tony Pollard. Vidal has averaged 10.5 fantasy points per game this season, and Pollard also averages about that same 10.2 fantasy points per game. All turnovers between these two have gone to Tony Pollard, with him losing 2 to rushing fumbles. Here's your averages, with Vidal being a backup for a bunch of these games until Hampton got hurt, and then they've been switching off a bunch of people, so you have Vidal down here with 27.7% of the team's total carry share, shattered a little bit by Hampton, because Hampton's now hurt, right? But he did have many carries, so he has 33.8% of the team's carry share total still. But you can see that it's also been spread out between some other players here. On the Titans here, you have Tony Pollard with 66.4% of the team's total carry share. There's a little bit more spread out, but he clearly carries it the most. Our number one receivers are Ladd McConkey and Calvin Ridley. Ladd McConkey has averaged 13.5 fantasy points per game this season, and Calvin Ridley has averaged 7.5, with no turnovers between the two of them. We'll switch over to the averages and look at their team receiving share. With Ladd McConkey, you have 22.3% of the team's total receiving share, and over here with Calvin Ridley, you have 17.9% of the team's total receiving share. And that is the largest share of the team's receiving yards for over here on the Titans, even though it is very spread out. Looking at your number 2 receivers, you have Keenan Allen and Alec Ayomanor, I think, but we'll just go with Alec. So Keenan Allen has averaged 15 fantasy points per game this season, while Alec has averaged 7.8. There's been no lost turnovers between the two of them, and we've looked at their averages as well as their percentages. You have Keenan Allen, who has 22.8% of the team's receiving share, which is actually larger than Ladd McConkey, and the largest on the entire team. And over here you have Alec with 17.1% of the team's receiving share, which is just short of Calvin Ridley's. With your tight ends, you have Oronde Gadsden, and then Chig, I don't know how to say his last name. With Gadsden, he has 12.5 average fantasy points per game, and Chig averages 6.8. The only turnovers come from Gadsden, with 1 receiving fumble loss. And otherwise, with your averages, and looking at their team percentages, you have Gadsden with 18.3% of the team's total receiving share. And over here with Chig, you have him at 16.7% of the team's total receiving share. So just revisiting this one more time, I think that, LA really does have the advantage here with especially their passing game. Even though Titans have a decent passing defense, it might just be too overwhelming. With the rushing rank of Vidal, who does seem like he's doing pretty well with the last game of 117 yards, they may run right all over Tennessee. And I think the real bad part for Tennessee is this thing up here where they just cannot score and they can't stop their opponents from scoring. So unless they can change this, I think that the Chargers really take this game. So that's all I have for this game today. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and subscribe, and leave a comment on what else you might want to see in the future. Other than that, thank you so much for watching.